everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Sharon, and this is a channel that is dedicated to all things related to narcissism. I'd like to begin today's video by honoring the lives of Shannan, Bella, Cece, and Niko Watts. 5 years ago yesterday, as of today's date, that would be August 13th, 2018, Shannan's husband Chris unalived her and her 3 children, one of whom she was pregnant with at the time. And I know unalived is a weird way to say it. It's a YouTube thing. He basically wiped out his family. When this happened, so 5 years ago, I didn't know what narcissism was. I had no idea. If you had asked me what narcissism was, I would have told you that it was somebody who was excessively vain, somebody who believed that they were better looking than everybody else. And while admittedly that would be annoying, it's not the devastation that NPD is. Narcissistic personality disorder is very serious. And if you're with somebody with NPD, I actually would go so far as to say it's one of the worst things that can happen in a marriage or in your life. To be with somebody with NPD, it's soul destroying. So as I was reading some articles about this case, I started to recognize, right away, actually, I started to recognize my ex in this. Once they released some text messages that Shannan had sent her friends, and I realized I could have written this, my life changed at that point. I often say that Shannan Watts had a role in saving my life, and she did, because of this case, I learned about narcissism. I learned what was really going on. So many of us, we don't know. We live in confusion for a long time. I could not understand why my ex did the things he did. I didn't know. It made no sense at all. And I wanted it to make sense. I wanted to try to fix it, essentially. I knew he wasn't a good husband. I knew he wasn't a good father. But why did he do the things he did? As an example, my ex was very big on silent treatments, very big on that. So what would typically happen is, my ex at one point, he stole money from my children. When he couldn't hide that from me any longer and he was forced to tell me, he gave me a silent treatment for months, months, because I was angry with him about it. That's the type of thing a narcissist will do. They are sneaky, they're liars, they can be very dangerous. So when I started recognizing my own husband and Chris Watts, it changed my life. Please, if you are somebody who prays, please pray for Shannan and her children, and especially, I believe they're in heaven, so I don't really think they need prayers, but please pray for her family, Sandy and Frank Rusak. Please bless them. Ask God to help them. I can't even imagine, I don't want to imagine how horrific their life is. Shannan Watts had a role in my life. It was the very beginning of recognizing I'm not alone and what the problem is. Once you know, you suspect, whatever it is, you're with somebody who's a narcissist, please don't ignore it. I feel like sometimes it's almost like Adam and Eve in the Bible. Once they ate the apple, I don't know if it's an apple, but something from the tree of good and knowledge, the scales fall off their eyes. Their life changed dramatically from that point. Our lives can change in a really positive way if we see what's really going on. If we dream and hope and pray that the narcissist is going to change, your life is not going to go well. I get that this is not what you want to hear, but what I'm going to do in today's video is tell you some things that you can do, some things that helped me. I was on a mission at this point. I didn't know what narcissism was. I found out through the grace of God, and I found out, and I started living a different way. The reality when you're with a narcissist is that they don't change, you do. When you change, everything in your life changes. I want to talk about 5 things that I did that helped me get out. I understand that many, many people want the narcissist to change. I wanted that. Joe wanted that. Everybody wants that at some point. And then you see that you'll see the statistic. I don't know where this comes from. I don't believe it. That 99% of narcissists don't change. So that means 1% does. I'm telling you, I have not, and I've looked for this person, I have not found even one person who has ever changed from being a narcissist, a full-blown narcissistic personality disorder, to a changed person? There's no one. I have heard, and I'm suspicious of them, but I have heard that there are self-aware narcissists, perhaps. But a self-aware narcissist doesn't mean anything. That's not going to really help you. What's going to help you is the narcissist completely changing. The first thing you need to do is give up all hope. No hope in the narcissist. They're not going to change. I had so much hope at first. It was actually almost a relief to me when I saw that 99% don't change. I was convinced I had the 1%. I had the 1%, of course. With my love and support, he's going to change his ways, and he's going to be that great dad and that great father that great husband that I know he can be. I just know it. I'll be so patient. He'll hear about this. He'll hear that he's a narcissist, and somehow that's going to make him think, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm going to change and be someone completely different. Please forgive me. That doesn't happen. In order for you to be in a better position, in order for you to have hope in your future and live a better life, you have to lose hope that the narcissist changes. The narcissist isn't the problem. The problem is that we stay with these narcissists even knowing what's going on because we believe they can change. Having hope is a very, very positive thing. And it gives you, when you have hope in life, that's how you move forward because you believe it can be better. You have positive expectations of a different result. But when we're talking about a narcissist, if you have hope in the narcissist, it will delay you from doing the things you need to do to have a better life. Joe and I, now this sounds crazy to some people, I get it, and that's fine. I'm telling you, on my channel, I'll tell you what it really is. Joe believes that narcissism, narcissistic personality disorder, is rooted in evil. Now, whether you believe in Satan or anything like that, the two of us, many of you, believe it's so bad that it stems from it. Whether or not the narcissist actually, believes in this and is trying and is actively doing Satan's will, I don't know. They might not. But narcissism taught Joe that spiritual warfare is real. It's a real thing. God really exists. Evil really exists. And there's this clash of it. And when you're with a narcissist, you've seen evil right in the eye. It exists. Now, I have other videos about some stories of things that have happened, supernatural things related to my ex. I've seen this. If you guys want me to do another video on that, let me know. I can do that. Joe and I were actually going to do a video similar to that over the weekend, and we ended up not doing a video, but that's probably something we're going to do next week. And if you want me to talk about the supernatural things that happen, just let me know in the comments. But I know that this is what's going on. There's real evil connected to a narcissist. You are not evil. You can have a good life. Putting your hope in a narcissist doesn't help anything. It just makes your life miserable for longer. Don't believe a narcissist if they tell you they're going to change, they're going to be different. They will say anything to get you where they want you, and they use us. They have us there for a purpose. Hope in the narcissist changing is the first thing that you need to stop. The secret to healing from narcissistic abuse, that secret is in you changing yourself, not in the narcissist changing. So abandon all hope when it comes to the narcissist changing. The second thing I would recommend you do is learn about NPD. Learn about narcissistic personality disorder. Go through my own videos. My entire story is in these hundreds of videos I've put out. Read books. Look at other commentary. There is plenty of information on NPD. Learn about it so that you can expect what's going to happen. One of the benefits to knowing about narcissism, besides the fact that now you don't live in confusion, you can actually get out of the situation, is that you can have a reasonable expectation of what the narcissist is going to do. They all use the same playbook. Just remember, say you had a sore throat all right, and you went to the doctor and the doctor said to you, oh yeah, your throat's red. Well, I know that because I have a sore throat, right? Once you know about narcissism, you'll know what the narcissist is likely to do so that you can kind of cut them off at the pass. Learn about NPD, not in an obsessive way, but in a way where you understand potentially, probably what the narcissist is going to do. It's a huge advantage. One of the only advantages you have once you know, because when you're with a narcissist, you do not live a good life. But once you recognize what's going on, what probably will happen, you can start making decisions that will benefit you. And the narcissist has no idea. The third thing I want to talk about is money. Money is absolutely crucial when you're with a narcissist. So many of us are in the same position that I was in, where you couldn't leave. I couldn't leave the narcissist because I didn't have any money. None. I was a stay-at-home wife. I didn't have any money. My ex had control over everything, so I couldn't leave. Where was I going to go? At one point, I believed if I tried to leave, I'd be living in my car with my children, my animals, my chickens. That's what I believed. What was I supposed to do? I didn't know what to do. That was my reality. I didn't have family. I didn't have friends I could stay with. My alternative was living in the car. And it was all because I didn't have money. So I started saving money. I didn't leave my ex right away. It was a process. I started saving money. I saved $10, $20. Every time I would go to the grocery store, I would use a debit card and I would take cash back for $10 or $20. And I held on to that. I also got 2 credit cards. So I applied and received 2 credit cards one of them had a $6,000 credit limit. One had a $10,000 credit limit. I didn't use them, but I had them. And that was a relief to me because then I realized, all right, if I had to, I can go and stay in a hotel with the kids for a few nights. I can buy some food for my children for a few days. That was how I began. I began $5, $10, $15, $20 at a time. 2 credit cards that I never used because I needed to save them for an emergency. Later, I used both of them and had to max them out when I left my ex. So I was happy that I had those. I used to save anything that I could, and I would put it in my own bank account that my ex didn't know anything about. I would get gift cards, little gift cards every once in a while. I would tell my ex that I was buying a gift card for like one of the kids' coaches or something like that, and I would buy one for myself. So I'd tell them I was getting whatever for them, and then I'd buy one for myself. Having money is so important. Have your own bank account. Make sure not everything is connected to the narcissist. You need freedom. Remember, the secret to healing from narcissistic abuse is understanding what's going to happen and changing yourself. You have no power over anybody but you. And if you focus your mind to this, it will benefit you in the long run. Don't even worry about leaving right now. Worry about changing, about being the best person you can be, understanding what's happening. Support your children. They're going to need you because this is confusing to them too. So, no hope. Learn about NPD. Money is so important. Another thing I'm going to talk about, and I know this will scare some of you. It scared me to do this. Speak to a divorce attorney. If you're married, speak to a divorce attorney. It's free. The first visit to a divorce attorney is free. Go there. The narcissist won't know. Go to the divorce attorney, explain your situation, and ask them what they think will happen. You might be surprised at what's going to happen. It might give you some hope. It doesn't mean you have to go through with it. It just means that you have knowledge. Now you know what can benefit you, what likely will happen. So there's not this big question mark. I wasn't sure what was going to happen. Just go to a divorce attorney one time. You never have to go back. It's fine. They're not going to contact you. They're not going to harass you. Your spouse is not going to find out. But you need information. Part of our problem is when you're codependent, especially, you're afraid of everything. You're afraid of your own shadow. I was terrified to go to a divorce attorney. Oh my gosh, you guys, I was afraid to do it. Even just driving down there, I was like, I can't do it. I got to drive home. Go. Force yourself. It's one time. It'll be like 30 minutes, an hour tops. You'll get information and you don't have to do anything, but at least you know. The fifth thing I'm going to talk about is build a support network. If you are in a situation like I was, my ex convinced me, and this is typical of a narcissist, that other people didn't like me. He convinced me of this. I became so, I don't know if shy is the right word. I had severe social anxiety. I didn't like being around anybody. I didn't like talking to anybody. If I was out at the grocery store and I saw a preschool teacher, I would go in the other direction. Even just saying hi. I mean, that's how bad it was for me. I was absolutely terrified of other people because my ex always told me, this person doesn't like you, that person doesn't like you, or did you see the look he's giving you, she's giving you? Now I understand now why, and that's part of learning about NPD. But at the time, it really drastically affected me. I wasn't living a good life at all. I was afraid, and I used to feel guilty as a mother because I didn't want to ever go on play dates. I did, but I was miserable the whole time, and I didn't have any friends. It wasn't until I started learning about NPD and I started just little baby steps, I ended up with a lot of friends. And in fact, one of these friends, this is important to remember, you don't know what is going to benefit you later that you can do now. I spoke to my pastor. No, I was going to church. I gathered up the courage. It probably took me 6 months to go talk to him. And it was weird because at the time when I spoke to him, I was telling him about his alcoholism, my ex's alcoholism. It wasn't even about narcissism. I was afraid. I was just talking about something I thought was minor. My pastor told me that he advises I divorce him. So he probably knew more than I was telling him, but I was shocked when my pastor said that. Shocked. And he told me to speak to somebody at the church. It was a woman. I knew this woman. I didn't know that she had been in an abusive relationship, but I did know this woman. I did not want to call her. I didn't want to talk to her. I was just, no, I can't do that. Something in me drove me to call her. And do you want to know something? Speaking to her that one day, we went out for coffee together, helped me tremendously in the long run. The last day I was with my ex, he tried to get me arrested. I've told this story. He hurt himself, blamed me, and what ended up happening with that is because there was an allegation of abuse in the home, I had a Child Protective Services investigation on me. Now, this took 2 months to clear up. It was horrible. My point in today's story is just that if two people needed to be interviewed who knew me. I didn't have a group of friends at this time. I was still with my ex at this time. But I happened to talk to that woman. My pastor and that woman were the two people that spoke for me. I don't know what I would have done. I don't know who I would have asked if I hadn't spoken to that woman. So if this is you, do the uncomfortable things. I can promise you, you don't have to worry about leaving today, but you do need to begin changing yourself. If you don't change yourself, nothing is going to change. So make sure that you abandon hope, learn about NPD, save money. You'll feel good by the time you get that first $100 because then you'll know, all right, at least I can feed my kids for a couple days. Go to a divorce attorney and work on making friends. Changing yourself is your answer because then when you're in a better position, when you have all these things lined up, you'll have some power. It's not just the narcissist who has power. You will have power, and that's how we get freedom. That's how. I hope this video helped you. And please, if you could you please pray for Shannan Watts, her children, and her parents, especially Sandy and Frank Rusek. I will be back, hopefully on Thursday with you guys, and probably Joe on Monday. But until then, I hope everybody has a wonderful day. God bless you.